When you say survival horror, most people think Resident Evil. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Resident Evil popularized the genre and helped to push it into the mainstream. The majority of survival horror games revolve around the hero trying to survive an ordeal involving a monster or monsters. Disaster Report, on the other hand, is about trying to survive an earthquake on an artificial island. There's no zombies, no mutants, no immortal guy with giant scissors and a bad leg. Just an entire island that's trying to kill you. Disaster Report is a 2002 survival horror game developed by Irem for the PlayStation 2. The game starts off with Keith Helm, a reporter headed to Stiver Island for his first day at his new job. Keith is taking the train from the airport when the earthquake hits. Why is this kid walking like this? A news reporter talks about the earthquake, but sounds a little too happy about it.
Up to 2,000 people are missing or dead. The epicenter of the quake was Capital City itself.
Keith wakes up and is the only one on the train. That's a good question. Where is everyone? Oh great, I'm on a bridge. Put that under places you don't want to be during a natural disaster. The game has an interesting damage defense dynamic. When an aftershock hits, you have to hold the brace yourself button, or you'll fall down and take damage. Well look, there's some other people rushing to a helicopter and leaving me behind. Thanks, guys. They do drop something for me all the way over there. This rescue team sucks. On top of the brace yourself button, the game also has the "Hey!" button. Reminds me of the commands from Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, but I had more fun with this. Hey! Hey! The game has a fixed camera, which is slightly annoying because it does make things more difficult. You can look around in all directions, but when you move, you have to use the locked camera. Did I mention I'm afraid of heights? These kind of games always mess with me. After going up a ladder, I come to the first save point. Along with the damage meter, the game also has a stamina dynamic, shown here with the QP, which stands for, actually, I don't know. It's supposed to be your thirst meter. As you travel, you get thirsty, and you have to find water. If you run or do strenuous activities, your thirst meter empties faster. Thankfully, there is plenty of water around. Look, it's the birds from Birdemic. So now I have to get whatever the helicopter dropped. I really appreciate them dropping it on the worst possible place. I think we all know how this is gonna go. Okay, it's a backpack that he takes the time to put on instead of jumping off the falling car. In pure action movie style, he runs off the car in just the nick of time. Inside the backpack, the rescue team left a note on how to get into a restaurant on the bridge. So let's head there. Also in the backpack is a water bottle that can be filled for water on the go. Heading inside the restaurant, and everything's falling apart. Perhaps I should get the hell out of here. Another news bulletin talks about the earthquake and a humorous little jab.
Up next, our special report, video games and violence.
I'm kind of a hoarder in these games, so another bottle of water, and I'm taking it. I make it outside the restaurant, which of course falls in the water. I hear someone else calling for help. She's trapped on a train car that's headed over the edge. Let me see if I can help.
No!
Well, I'm out of ideas. This game's using adventure game logic, so I have to go look for an item. It looks like there's a rope over there. Well, it seems I've mastered the ability to stand on air. Back to the train to tie the rope on the conveniently placed bar and rescue the girl.
No!
It sounds like she's giving Keith a good thanking. This is Karen.
We'll never be able to climb over this.
Yes, we'll never get over this slightly raised platform. Keith hoists Karen up so she can go look for some rope to help him get over the ledge. Ugh, yes, finally off the bridge. Well, mostly off the bridge. How the hell are we supposed to get down? Backtracking up here is a path that leads down to an elevator? I didn't think it would work. Another ladder and we're finally on solid ground. Alright, maybe not so solid. Karen remembers her dog's at home, so we have to figure out how to get there. Karen remembers there's a convenience store nearby, so we head there to loot the joint, get some supplies. Yay, a turtle compass! We're gonna get off this island together, turtle compass. On the truck's a crowbar, which I'm sure is gonna come in handy at some point. There's some ominous music playing, which means, ah! After a lot of wandering around, we make it to the store, but it's already cleared out, with the exception of a few items and a map. If your game has a toilet, I'm gonna flush it. Another save point and some more aftershocks. A giant ball falls off the roof of the building, and I'm having flashbacks to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Keith hoists Karen up again, and she brings back a fire extinguisher. And she gets kidnapped or something. Now that she's gone, I have to find another way around, preferably one that doesn't involve an overpass falling on me. A fire? Sure is a good thing Karen just gave me a fire extinguisher. Although we've seen a lot of destruction, this is the first real casualty we've seen. Another guy shows up to tell me about how someone with a gun just shot this guy. Well, that sucks. Survive an earthquake only to get shot. In the building, another bulletin is telling people where to go to evacuate. Since this is a man-made island, the earthquake is making the whole thing fall apart and sink into the ocean. I should have never taken that job. Inside, there's these ledges, so I have to get my platforming on. And much like regular platformers, I suck. At the top, I find Karen, and what happened to my hay?
Hey!
Well, this seems like an odd place for a door. Ah, that's air. Karen tells Keith that some freaky girl chased her. It's Japan. I hope it's not this one. We head outside and a building falls on me. I like how it goes from 0 to downpour in less than a second. We head down an alley and meet Greg. He brings us into a building to help clear a path to escape. Greg's a freelance photographer. He's covered wars, you know. Oh great, so I have to get up there to figure out how to move the pillars. Well, that wasn't too bad, but now I have to get back down. Come on, you can jump that. Okay, I'll take the scenic route. This'll come in handy, a hard hat and a med kit. I meet back up with Karen, but Greg went on ahead. We have to climb down the ladder, but Karen seems to have forgotten her underpants.
Why?
I'm not wearing any,
These aftershocks have the worst timing. Hey! We find Greg taking pictures of a water pipe. Greg and Karen make it out safely, but then the building starts to collapse, so I have to find another way out. Greg offers to show us Windrunner Park, where the rescue team is going to be. Climbing this fire truck ladder takes me right into a half-collapsed building. Oh, and a bigger backpack. Now I can hold more stuff. We find an old man that tells us the island is faulty and the construction manager is responsible. Sounds like the Big Dig in Boston. There's an old lady who also needs help.
Is that your grandson?
Yes, he just started elementary school this year. We promised to take him to the amusement park this summer.
That's right. We promised.
I found a way out of the building, but I guess I should have brought the old couple with me because...
No!
Yeah, they're dead. So now Keith breaks out his sexy hay.
Hey!
Here's one of the crossroads in the game where you have to choose where to go, and whatever path you take affects the outcome of the game. Go with Karen to look for her dog, or go with Greg to the rescue point.
You're in my way! Get out of my way!
I'd rather go with Karen. A building blocks our path on one side, and there's a river on the other. Good thing there happens to be the exact materials we need here to build a raft. Should we really be wasting time painting the barrels? Yes, we should.
Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known.
We make it to the other side and build a fire to dry off. Karen tells Keith that her uncle was the construction manager the old man was talking about. Run, Crash Bandicoot, run! We make it back to the road, and the whole island shimmies again. Heading into a store, I take a coat hanger in case those birds decide to come back. I need to get around this flaming bus, and this stumped me for a very long time. Finally, I see a wire that's going over, so I climb up and use the coat hanger to rappel down. That's a strong coat hanger. Sure, just sit there in the fire. He moves the bus, and somehow Karen magically transports over there. We head to the suburbs to get to Karen's place. She goes inside to get her dog and to change clothes. Maybe put on some underpants this time. I could wait for her, but the logical thing to do is to go spy on her.
Great. I can't get to my clothes.
Oh, Japan. Karen comes back and we see that her dog Jen is okay. We take a bike since it'll be faster than walking. Does this have a bell? Yes! Game of the year. The handling on this is not the best. Oh, please let me do a ramp off a flaming building or something. We make it to the subway, but I was too slow. We head into the subway, and yes, another cave-in. Well, finally a use for the crowbar. So there's a door behind this wall? This leads to some massive drain pipe that probably has something to do with why the whole place is sinking. The door's locked, but you can't climb over that? Finally, we make it outside to another one of those it gets worse moments. Karen already made it to safety, so now I have to do some platforming over flaming wreckage and falling trucks to get to the other side. It's just a little bit nerve-wracking. I've been crushed so many times in this game. I make it to the other side and get back to the surface. Okay, Windrunner Park is over there, but Keith's office is here. So instead of going to safety, let's head to work. Karen sees a light, so we head up to see if anyone's there. Keith finds a newspaper about terrorists. Suspects are currently awaiting trail. We make our way to the office, and not only is Keith's boss William still alive, he seems to be working. Good grief, an earthquake and this guy's still going? I stubbed a toe once and called in sick. William makes Keith go to the local building and steal a construction report. He then forces Karen to do some filing.
And you? You can stay here and do filing.
Me?
You've got nothing else to do, right?
Keith goes to the first floor and then warps to the 12th floor, but the door's locked. Thankfully, the elevators still work. I ventured into the head executive's office to look around for the report. I love how the entire island is trashed, but this guy's office is untouched. Goddamn 1%. I find an audio tape of some maniacal voices planning on destroying the island.
Excellent. You did it. Good work, Terry.
It can start whenever we want it to.
June 21st. I see.
As usual, if you're planning a major disaster, be sure to leave evidence all over the place. Breaking into the safe, I get the report and have to hide because someone's coming. The evil executive Albert is talking about his plans to destroy the rest of the island. He can't see Keith's legs under his desk, so now the game turns into Metal Gear Solid, although I don't make it too far.
Got it.
Uh-huh. I understand.
Don't move!
In James Bond villain style, they leave Keith tied on the roof of the building. I inchworm my way over to a broken pipe and cut the rope loose. Now down the stairs to get back to William and Karen. Yeah, don't try to move away from the giant fire or anything. William twisted his leg, so now I have to carry him. I better get a raise for this. We head to Windrunner Park to meet the rescue crew. Since nothing is easy, I have to swim across the lake to get to open ground to signal the helicopter. Instead of lowering a ladder or anything, they give me a bigger backpack. I find the escape boat and head back to get William and Karen. Oh great, someone just released the Kraken. Well, that drained fast. Taking them across the lake, and naturally... Whoa! I get William to the lifeboat, and he gets taken to safety. Then when the boat returns, a building falls on it. So now the only evacuation point is on the other side of the stadium. We meet up with Greg again, and now he found Kelly. Lots of K names here. Heading through the stadium, and the group splits up again. For me, this was the hardest part of the game. You have to time your run perfectly to get out of the stadium without it falling on you. I died a whole bunch. Finally, after dying about 1,000,000 times, we make it to the exit. Albert, the evil business guy, sees Keith and tells his hired Russian goons to kill him in the most over-the-top way possible. Since the rocket attack didn't work, Karen and I head to the mall to hide. The goons follow, carrying semi-automatic rocket launchers. This went from an homage to disaster films to a parody of 80s action films. This part is all about sneaking around the hired goons. They aren't smart, but they do shoot on sight.
There he is!
After sneaking around for a while, I accidentally hit the hay button. Now to avoid the sniper segment. This part is awesome. The helicopter drops down into the mall, and we have to take it out in the most ridiculous way possible, with a fire hose. We make our way to the evacuation point and see William and Kelly are okay. The only thing standing between us and freedom is a chain link fence? Climb the goddamn fence! Of course not. We still have some mystery to uncover. We find Greg talking to Karen's Uncle Terry, who built the island. He's explaining what's happening to the island, and then Albert finds us. Now let's try that again. In the room, Terry explains his motives and why he teamed up with Albert.
You sank an entire island for revenge?
My enemy is the government. It's the only revenge I could get. My family was killed by the government.
We have to ride a speedboat away from another helicopter as it shoots rockets at us. It's like playing the game version of Thunder in Paradise. Then if things weren't bad enough, here comes a tsunami. Gotta run to the top of the building or death. The last goon is on the top to try to take us out. Greg takes a bullet for Karen and says something you would not expect from someone who was just shot.
Crap. Leave me alone.
Albert wants to shoot Keith and Karen. Terry finds out that Albert was responsible for his family dying, and so they shoot each other until Terry pushes him off the roof.
You're my friend, remember? Stay with me a while longer.
A rescue helicopter shows up and finally takes us to safety. So let's see, how'd I do? A D? The game was first released in Japan and called The Desperate City in 2002, and then in US and Europe in 2003, when they changed the name. The game was well received and praised for its unique take on the survival genre, but some critics bashed it for its graphics. While I admit the graphics aren't the best, the experience is awesome. A sequel was released in 2006 called The Desperate City 2 Frozen Memories. It was released a year later in the US and Europe as Raw Danger. The game was also well received, but low sales in the US prevented the third game in the series from being ported over. A fourth game was also completed and headed for the PS3 with better graphics and a more immersive storyline. It was supposed to be released in April of 2011, but after the earthquake and tsunami that happened in Japan in March, IREM, the publisher, canceled its release. I understand why they cancel it, but I do hope they release it at some point. This game looks amazing. The lead designer, Kazuma Kojo, lived through the Great Harshan earthquake in 1995, which inspired him to create the game series. After the game was canceled, the studio was flooded with letters from people who loved the series. Many of them were earthquake survivors, and the game series had helped them to face their fears. After the cancellation, Kojo left IREM with the intent of starting a new series of disaster survival games. I absolutely love this game. It's such a unique experience that the only thing you can compare it to are the sequels. It's not easy, and you do have to fight the camera, but there are plenty of save points, and it never feels completely unfair. The game also switches things up so frequently, it never feels dull. The pathway that I went was just one, so you can go back for multiple playthroughs and see a different storyline. It does have a lot of weird Japanese flavor, like the ability to gather different hats in the middle of a major crisis. In my opinion, though, that just adds to its charm. It's got great cover art, too. The whole thing feels like an amalgam of every over-the-top action survival movie you can think of. If you have a PS2 or a backwards-compatible PS3 and are looking for a game experience you won't soon forget, track this one down. Hey, what does the QP stand for anyway? It doesn't even say?
Albert.
What?